I can't advise you on the situation. On here, people compare me to all kinds of just displeasing faces. Like that chick who was in The Grinch, who is now a grown-up, who looks like a fucking robot. Dakota Fanning. And just, it's a general, brings out the badness. The bad feeling. I'm gonna have some cucumber to deal with this. Didn't think that would be in shot, but it was, so I'm not gonna have to confront it. Have a bite of cucumber. Oh yeah. Someone who I've been compared to, I like the comparison because it makes me feel good. They're after me again. Is Winona Ryder. I'd be very happy with that comparison. And I am when it happens. Hello Elizabeth, I'm pleased to hear you have hands, although slightly disappointed also. Thanks very much for the invitation by proxy. I'm going to assume you don't mean it, but say thank you very much nonetheless, and it probably won't happen because it would be a bit weird. I believe in I before E except after C, but not God. Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. Put people into little categorizations. A box for everyone. Isn't that your philosophy on life? Oh, let's put this person in a box. It's labelled. Let's label people as though they were cargo. Well, to you I say, I don't know why I'm doing this. I thought it was funny originally, but I just realised I've convincingly portrayed that person to the extent I seem like actually that person. I'm not quite sure how to... Well, let's just say that you win this round. It's I, and whenever I'm in that state, I have to complex conjugate myself in order to stop being so negative. If a girl was very, very similar to me, then yes. But she would have to be similar to me in so many different ways, like, well, mostly, well, I think for it to not... So she would have to feel the same way about me in terms of low-key friendships and how they're much better because they aren't commitments. And if I say no, I don't want to come out or do whatever stupid thing you want to do. No, it's probably not stupid. That's the good thing about if they're very similar to me. They probably want to do something that I want to do anyway. So if they were similar enough to me that I felt comfortable with them, but I just find it that difficult to even imagine. Oh man, I just laughed at my own face then. That's when you know you're onto a winner. I think I probably could, but the thing is, it had to be so low key that there would probably have to be some sort of other situation that drew us to the same location, like university. So she'd have to be going to the same university as me. I don't know. I'm sure it'll happen at some point. Maybe. I don't know. The complex conjugate of A minus BI is A plus BI. Fuck you. I don't know. I go both ways. So I'm both, and I don't know which is better. I feel like I'm slouching the same either way. And this time, with legs up, you're kind of just more doubled up than you were before, and it definitely doesn't encourage sitting up straight, because sitting up straight with legs up just feels like I'm a yoga teacher. I think there's Darwinian pitfalls for us all here. I think I go through stages of things like that, and but it isn't a constant thing. Sometimes I will say, oh my, after laughing. In a previous video, I slap my thigh. I do that after I laugh. Is that a go-to? It's not a verbal go-to, but it's certainly some kind of go-to. It has to be a particularly hearty laugh, I think. I think you're probably American and you list tea amongst your biography. I was going to say favourite things, but it isn't favourite things. There's a biography and you actually thought, I'll put tea in there. I like tea. So I think you have a bit of an English fetish. And so of course you love Stephen Fry. He's marketed to you. Well, he's not marketed to you as much as he probably could be. I don't hate him, I just don't have any fondness for him. The problem with cool kids is that they're douches, almost uniformly fucking douches, and I don't have time for that. I think if you recorded my face when I was watching the film Rango, you would certainly get wide-eyed appreciation. I don't know if those words are the right ones, but maybe they are. April the 5th, which is, I just realised, is a week and 1 day away. Holy fuck. Time flies when you're living. No. Just no. I've been up all night. This isn't relevant, I just want to talk about it. Well, it's kind of relevant, but I just want to talk about it. Just shut up. I've been up all night writing a fucking thing that I should have written already that I didn't write. Because I was like, no, it'll be fine. And then I was just staring at an Excel spreadsheet for about an hour, just like, why isn't it working? Brain, do it, brain, look at it. What is wrong? The thing that was wrong is that I couldn't see it because I just couldn't make any sense of anything. Like, I was just going through the motions and I knew what I had to do, but I couldn't actually look at it and realise what was wrong. What was wrong is that fucking Excel, of course, I forgot, does everything in radians. Why? Like, Excel is for the fucking layman, majoritively. Oh, why? Radians. No, that doesn't help me. And I am on a physics degree. It should be optional. Why isn't it? And now there are birds. Every day there are birds. My window. Outside. Baby pigeons. They're not doing it right now. I've just put like a rug over the windows. I thought maybe that would help. Hasn't done jack. Has done less than thereof. Jesus Christ, what a night. So I'm nearly finished at 8:24 AM. So definitely gonna have a nice last day of school and not just go hand in my work, come home and pass out. And another thing, my value for the Bohr magneton is whack. It's complete whack. I don't know why it's so whack. Other people didn't get such whackness. I only thought to, calculate it when I actually had to write a fucking lab report about it. I didn't think, I better check if this is alright and then maybe not do it if it's not alright. It's not alright, I got a value of 75.9 micro electron volts per Tesla, which is like, it's far wrong, and I've got to hand it in now. I've no choice, no other option. Well, I could feasibly do another one, but no, just look at this face. This face holds the head that is very similar to this face in terms of, why? Let this be a lesson to you, Rose. Don't do this shit. You say it every time though, and every time it happens, motherfucker. It wasn't that bad last time, but this time it's bad again. Because last time wasn't that bad, so I'm like, no, it's cool, I'm pretty great at life and everything, and nothing I do can ever go wrong, because I got an A in it. And yeah, this has been fucking swell. I've enjoyed every second of it, and I'm continuing to enjoy every second. And now it's the great journey, the fabrication of that is the bibliography, the lie, the barefaced deceit that has no shame. Guys, I like the internet, guys. The internet's really helpful and it teaches me things. And it's very interactive in that way. I can ask it a question and it will smile at me. Sometimes. And in this case, yes. Seaman. 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 I'm a fucking bird, Rose, and I'm outside your window and I always will be. Every day. Every day at this time and earlier. As, you know, the light will get light earlier. And I will be here waiting for just even the slightest excuse to just when you're up a bit late and fully regretting your whole life in that moment because you have to try and sleep through the What am I going to do today? Am I going to stay up? I don't think so. That doesn't happen. I think like that, like, yeah, it's 8:37 and I feel like shit, but I'm not asleep. So I could feasibly get through the day. No. I'm gonna die out there. So yeah, I definitely read Seaman's paper from 1903. Whack that in there. And, you know, Feynman probably wrote something about it at one point, so I'll definitely track that down and pretend I read it. I'm sorry, Feynman. And anyone can put a dick on a Wikipedia page. I think that's what they think, and it's true. But the internet is a smiler, and has formulas, and I don't have a voice, and I don't have a soul, and that's the end of my story. Nope. Not yet, anyway. Last year, I was 1 mark off failing an exam that I basically didn't study for it because all the previous exams that I read through were quite straightforward, and I thought there were more pressing issues to contend with at the time, like other exams that I was more worried about, so I didn't really study very hard for it, and then I got the exam, it's like, fuck? And I couldn't remember, like, the Fourier series, and I couldn't remember a bunch of shit, and some stuff, it was like, were we taught this? And it was not good, but I passed it by 1 mark percent. So hopefully I won't come anywhere close to that degree of closeness with the old fails this year. Feeling better about it than I was last year, but it's early days, isn't it? My first exam is on the 3rd of May, so when the 3rd of May arrives, please, everybody watching this, wish me intense luck rays. So that's 10 AM British Summer Time, 3rd of May, thanks. How cool do you think it is? That's a base question here that needs to be specified, well, answered, in order for me to properly address it to you, the individual. So probably not, though. Probably definitely not. You have to just get a lot of satisfaction out of not very much to be able to enjoy it. So you look at the math and you figure out what the fuck it is, and you say, yes, sweet, I dominated that thing on this bit of paper, kind of, not really. And that makes me feel good. You have to have that about really boring things like thermodynamics, which is a snores. Absolument. It's made of snores. Snore engines. So, some of it's quite cool, and you sort of broach subjects, kind of, that you like or have had interest in, and then they are muted by the just... Basically, very few lecturers are good. A lot of them are very boring, and the subjects suffer hugely as a result of this. what I enjoy the most is where I am now in the month before exams. Well, oh god, last year I just fucking frittered this time away, and I spent 1.5 weeks revising for the exams and didn't do that great. This year I've actually started early, and it feels good, you know? Feels like, yeah, let's keep this up. Why am I on VU and I could be studying? I wonder how many times that will be asked over the course of the next month. So, no, it's not as cool as you think it is to study, but it is pretty cool. You just have to have a bit of a masochistic streak and also like figuring things out. My views are as follows. Boo! Oh, it tastes like water! All budget cola is bad. Spa do an American cola that I have drunk and it wasn't so bad, but I can't really bear them. Lidl do a brand called Freeware. It's the Freeware of Coke. It's not actually called Freeware, it's called Freeway. But I've made that joke a lot, and by God, I'm not going to stop. Indifferent. Big Bang Theory I like. It's shit. I accept it's shit, but I still like it. I think it's something to do with the colours, and sadly the subject matter. I like it because of it. I'm sorry. I don't even feel good about admitting it. I think I've done this before on here. I've definitely done it before several times in real life, even with people who like Big Bang Theory. I feel like, no, it's shit. Look at me. You like it, I like it. It's shit. As long as we accept that and feel bad about watching it and enjoying it, then that's alright, kind of. But people think it's actually, okay, no. I'm not above them, I'm them. Even if they think it's good, I'm still among them. I am their kin. I'm sorry myself. Sorry to myself. Ice cream. Yeah. Ice cream, yeah. Ice cream, yeah. I like expensive ice cream. I don't really like shit ice cream. What more do I have to say? Caramel Choo Choo is rad because it's very delicious, but also I am not compelled to eat the entire mulk in one desperately depraved sitting. Whereas there are other ones like cookie dough, which I don't even like that much, but I just like, it's like, put it inside! And I do. And then it's like, bleh. And that's regretful. Girls who name their computers. I named my computer Rapist last year when I lived in quite a conservative household, and was aware the whole time that if anybody clicked network, they would see that my computer was called Rapist, all caps. And it took me a really long time to change that, even though every time I saw it I just thought, fuck, I should change that, but I didn't. I don't know what it's called anymore. I think it still has a name though, so I'm one of those girls. And I have no problem with anybody who calls their computer a name. I think they should call their computer a name. I like that this says nowadays, like you know my past habits, and you're just interested in an update, food update. Do I make my food, or buy them, or half already made? I don't know what I'm doing. And salad, and a gigantic piece of cake about yay. Came home, had some more cake. Cake is a substantial part of my diet. Cake. Bakery, baked goods. About 100% of my diet, baked goods. Delicious and fortifying and nutritional. None of these things, one of these things, delicious. So, I eat some stuff. I have this card which means I get 2 for 1 or 50% off at a lot of places, so I eat out quite a lot and it comes to like £3 or £4 for a delicious hearty meal of some description. Pretty neat, pretty sweet, pretty nifty. I do that. I had a prawn layered salad today that I bought, but I also ate a bunch of shit when I was out all day. Don't know if this is answering any kind of question. Tips on low budget food. Soup, eggs, I buy like pack of turkey. This is the meal I cook. Pack of turkey, turkey sandwich. Make 2 turkey sandwiches out of 1 pack of turkey. That's some cheap eats, kinda good cheap eats. Protein, that's something I lack, and something I need to make up for with just a wedge in some bread. Bread, always bread. Forever and a day, bread. Sure. But do you say quark or do you say quark? I say quark. All of my lecturers have said quark. Sometimes I hear people say quark, and I immediately assume they are noobs. So you might want to consider that whenever you are next required to pronounce it in the world. Internet don't give a shit. It's all perception. Perception-based pronunciation. eBay off bits. Last year I sold a bunch of games on eBay. Like, GameCube games and DS games, I sold a bunch thereof. I made the most off of Ikaruga and shit, what's it called? It's gonna seem to you, the layman, like I can't remember the name because I didn't give a shit about it because I'm way too cool for that. But in actual fact, I had a life there. What was it called? You know what I mean. The Nintendo DS. Have a house. Tom Nook is a bastard. You live your life paying off your debts. You know? Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I had a good friend in there called Billy, and he liked karate. He was a goat. Anyway, those two made the most money. Overall, I made £180 just on, like, games. It was amazing. I felt great. I felt like a winner. But I'm sort of running out of valuable things to sell. Well, no. I don't have many valuable things that I would like to sell. That's the issue at the moment. Nice to have you. So what I do is I bleach it, and it goes a sort of yellow colour, yellow-orange, which maybe you're familiar with, my love. And then what you do is you put purple in it, and it takes it all up to a white. It also sometimes takes it all up to a bit of a purple, so you have to be at ease with that beforehand. I had blue hair for 6 years, so I'm fine with it, having some purple for a few days. So you can, what I usually do when I first bleach my hair is I just get some purple hair dye, like a little bit of purple hair dye, put it in like a mass amount of conditioner, whack it all on my hair for about 20 minutes, wash it off and see the situation, maybe do it again. And in the long term, you can just get like a pot. It's not a pot, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a product, and it's called Silver Sensations. I don't know where you are, hopefully England, in which case you can also garner this product from either Boots or Sainsbury's or somewhere. And it's called A Touch of Silver, and it's for either people who want to be light blonde or people with grey hair. I don't know what happens with grey hair that you need to do that. Apparently it gets a bit yellow or something. A little bit weird. Don't have to worry about that for a good 50 years, so less. Probably. Anyway, let's just face each problem as it arises. So I use this stuff, which is like shampoo that you're supposed to use every week, and just use it 2 times a week usually, and leave it on for 4 minutes. Condition. There you go. I actually had little to no strife with that particular assignment. The most recent one was the Zeeman effect. The previous one was the Hall effect. His graphs were great. I obviously go to a much classier establishment because, check it out. Logarithmic curve, that is just beautiful, isn't it? Is it not? Look, a little bit of whack, but generally speaking, and then against the logarithmic scale, I just like to look at it sometimes. It's that classy. I even went on to determine the carry concentration and mobility alongside the band gap. But the Bohr magneton, let's not even think about that. But Randy Taylor was a weed, is a weed, was a weed, is a weed, will be a weed, will die a weed. And PJ, fucking PJ, Oh, I played paintball and now I can't see. Fucking idiot. It's funny that you've picked that one out, as it's one of my least watched videos, and on reflection is rather retarded. I actually considered, at length, over the past 6 years of my life, recording an audiobook of some book, some chosen book, and putting it on the internet because I really like audiobooks and would like to donate to that. So hopefully I'll do that someday, and it will be some kind of epic story. I don't know what kind of epic story it is you require. I don't feel that story was very epic, was it? A little bit retarded. It's really the only word that can be utilised to aptly describe it. I think it's great, and anybody who's watching this and hasn't seen it should download it now and watch it when it arrives at its hard drive destination. My favourite colour is the space between blue and green, a rather distinct space that's closer to blue than green, and is sometimes described as teal, sometimes described as turquoise, and sometimes described by faggots as turquoise. I think it isn't shit, but I'm not a rabid XKCD-er. I don't go to the XKCD website every day, or even weekly, or even monthly, but occasionally I will see a comic from XKCD, and it's rare that it's shit. Sometimes it's just not very funny to me. But I think shit is a whole nother level. Sometimes it's quite good. It will be released, but it will disappoint everyone, apart from the people who will deny it to themselves or are stupid. I'll probably buy it in a Steam sale. Probably next summer or next Christmas. Yes, but there needs to be nothing else to do. I need to be stuck. Like, the most recent chess game I played, and the only chess game I've played in I think the previous 2 years, is on a train. That was ideal chessing conditions. I sadly lost, but it was a close run thing, and down to the very last few pieces. I don't know what it means, but I'd like to ask you a question based on this situation that arose in your dream mind. If I were to have heard you coming and be standing on my bed over there, and you come in the door over there, okay, so if I fire a bow and arrow and it hits either you or a friend, okay, let's say a friend, hits your friend, hopefully somewhere non-lethal, but incapacitating, and your friend goes down like a sack of bricks, and you're like, shit, my friend has an arrow sticking out of him, I'm not quite sure what I should do in this situation, I think I'm going to leave, or at least not pose any more threat to this chick. Or are you going to think, well, my friend's been taken down, but look at her, she's looking quite nervous and fairly slowly reloading the next arrow, I'm going to take her out and fuck her up even more than I was going to elsewise. Because I often think about this and I don't know what the best course of action would be. So thanks for any insight you are able. This keeps pausing in the most inopportune moments, and it makes me look like a retard when I blink, because it pauses just as I go down to blink and my eyes go whoop. So I'm not blinking in this response. Please, no, God, fuck, dry. Arid landscape of eyeball. I don't remember ever saying I don't shower, but maybe I did. I just don't remember. I do shower. I shower bi-daily. Because the production value on these is nil, zero, absolute nothing. And that's much easier for me to do. Basically, but you know, I haven't forgotten YouTube. I think it's rad. I think it's good. I'll swear engine. Great time. But I still haven't seen the last series, the third series. To begin with, I was like, no, I'm going to save that for a special time when I feel like I need it. But since then, I've heard that the third series doesn't really end properly because it was cut down in its prime. And that kind of makes me not want to watch it, because I have such fond, open-ended memories of it, and I don't want it to Shut down! I like how the different in this question is just so far beyond the typo that it sort of points out that you can't actually spell different, which won't matter as long as you're doing a sciencey degree very much. You might lose 1 mark for doing something like that in a report of some description. They didn't give a shit, really. I write really well, but that doesn't really make much of a nevermind in my field. Fuck, so they're just harder. I mean, that's quite an obvious thing to say, and I think maybe you were hoping for something more explanatory. I remember thinking the same thing at A level. It's just harder and much more in-depth, but depending on what you want to do, I mean, it's just quite a big step up. So if you're doing okay in subjects that are applicable to that course, then you'll be fine. It's a step up still, but you'll make it. Whereas if you're not doing so well in those subjects that you are hoping to continue at university, if they're in the sciencey realm anyway, I don't know about elsewise, then you might find yourself a little bit fucked. But you just have to put a bit more work in, so you can do it anyway. As long as they let you. It isn't rapist anymore. There's a small Chinese girl beneath me. Yeah. And she is on the same network as me, and if she saw that, well, last year I cared a lot more, I didn't change it. Anyway, I changed it regardless. I changed it before I even came here. This girl, her real name is Wing. That's an okay name. South Park slightly put a tinge of bad on that name, but it's okay. She could work it. But she's chosen the English name Cheryl. Cheryl. So her name on the network is Cheryl. I don't know if she would even look on the network, but she might accidentally once, and if she saw rapist, she might just start crying, because Wing doesn't know what to do about that. Anyway, I don't have Bluetooth in my mobile, so that's sort of, my mobile phone was £10, plus £10 credit, so no Bluetooth for me. I kind of feel like I have to, like that's kind of a challenge I've very unofficially, very avoidably set for myself to do at some point in my life, just because it seems like literally the worst thing you could ever do to yourself beyond. I don't know if there are very many worse things than that, if it doesn't go very well anyway. If it goes well, I suppose it's still going to be a hugely traumatic experience, but it won't be as bad, but kind of assuming it's going to be awful and no one's going to laugh, I think is the best way to head into that sort of situation. So, I do consider it. I hope I do it someday. Nope, I don't think I ever would unless I changed. But that's kind of a change too far, I think. There'd have to be some serious upfuck in order for me to proclaim either veget or veganism. Terrier. So, no, I like eating food, and I like eating meat the most of all kinds of food, perhaps, I think. So I don't think I'd give that up, and I eat all animals, and would eat any animal just to see what it tasted like. When I'm at university every single day. Some people are really fucking smart. How irritating. I go to university with a few of that ilk. But maybe in some ways I'm smarter than them. Just not the one that counts at the moment. So I think there's so many variations of smartitude. And as you can tell from that sentence, I have more. I think that themed katanas, especially of the Mario variety, would probably be rather blunt. I think any katana you can buy that is in any way themed is blunt regardless, even not themed. Here I think it's illegal, but if you get yourself a katana it's probably going to be fairly blunt. So, it's not going to be, if it was a katana, I thought, if it was a real katana and you didn't knock your glass over and have a mini stroke, then you might find other than slicing and dicing. Just cut that stature. And the other way is quark, which which would be quark. Again, the R is all over that shit. Yeah! I'm pumped. I'm pumped for it. I'm all pumped up and ready to go in June. Yeah! And I really hope they bring it to Casino, probably. The arcade where I play the Street Fighters. It's at the Trocadero now, but that's £1 a credit. In Casino, it's £1 for 2. Come on. In the summer, I played a series of poker games. Of the first 3, I won 2. But thereafter, it was a sorry state of affairs. I think second was the best I got after those first 3. Which means, obviously, I didn't win the first 2. I won 1. Failed 1. Failed, proceedingly. Perhaps my pokerings are seasonally based. I am rather sleepery and finding it difficult to piece words together with any sort of velocity. Well, the velocity exists, it's just rather slow. 2 words per 20 seconds. That's an underestimate, but I'm doing it so I succeed more than I might think so otherwise. So yeah, I woke up too early, couldn't get back to sleep. Thought I'll listen to Adam and Joe, and I did. I listened to Adam and Joe show, the Adam and Joe show, on BBC 6 Music, the podcast thereof. Very good. I recommend anyone watching this go and listen to it, because it is delightful. But then that didn't make me go to sleep. I just lay down and chuckled for 50 minutes and then decided to get up and try to talk, and what a bad move that was. I always love reading about them, and the Portal 2 one particularly is great times. I'm really glad that that sort of thing happens, and I'm really glad that Valve is the sort of company that delights in it so much. And there's nothing about it I don't like, and I can't play Portal 2 until tonight. I'm going to go out soon so I don't have to confront that issue whilst staring at a computer onto which it is installed. Make videos, don't be boring, don't be a dick. Like, I never expected so many people. To me it seems like a lot of people compared to other people. I don't have a lot of people. I think there's others who could probably give you better advice, but even then I think I wouldn't listen to advice from certain people who are incredibly popular but just kind of dicks about it in the way they have gathered the following. A lot of it makes me gag. Not even because of my fingers, just because of their fingers and the fact that they exist. When you say this, I assume you mean get better grades in your exams. That's what I mean when I think of doing physics better. Unfortunately, that is the way it is measured. The betterness or unbetterness of your ability, is I write down everything that I need to know. This is page 1 of 3 on thermodynamics, and it covers things like partial differentials, heat, and, you know, first law, second law, third law, 0th law, entropy, photon gases. The way of doing it is how I do it, and if I didn't do it, I think I wouldn't be doing anything, because I find it difficult to actually go through question papers until I'm like, shit, fuck, exam season is truly upon me, and it isn't yet. It is in a week, but to me that isn't yet. To me it'll probably be 2 days before, and I'll start going through question papers. But if you can go through question papers now, just do it. Not necessarily exams, just like all your homeworks you were ever given. Try and just go through them all and do them. I wish I had the capacity to do this. I just don't. But I think that's the very best way you can study for exams, and if you do it, you'll probably get really good grades. Also, looking over exam papers, previous exam papers, this is such basic shit, I don't even know what I'm bothering saying, but, you know, whatever. So, in all my conceptualizing, I'd omissized, is that a word, omissed? Omissed is a word, isn't it? I'm saying too long and I'm going to run out of time, so I'm talking very fast. Check the exam papers, and a question that comes up every time is, what is the thermodynamic identity? And then all my conceptualizing, I hadn't gone over this, hadn't memorized it, but now I have, because I've actually checked through and seen how important that is and how often it comes up with. du equals TdS minus PdV. Do that. Well, do let me know at which point over the past 5 years I've changed. Those math babes are really not appealing to my demographic. No differential equations. Come on, guys. Get with it. It was indeed. Thanks for noticing. With no interference, other than the fucking cops, my schedule has turned into 5 AM to 1 PM / 2 PM. Changing it up to a 4 AM bedtime if there is anything to do on the opposite day in the early hours. The early hours to me is anything before 1 PM. Tomorrow I have an early hours appointment. Alas, it means a bedtime of 2 AM. Yeesh. I used to do blog TV when I was bored, and that usually meant my face got posted on B and a bunch of people showed up, and it was usually really fun. And one of my fondest memories of that period of time is when a 14-year-old came on the co-host cam, 14-year-old boy, and started to jerked off, jizzed, rubbed the jizz into the carpet, and then I got banned. It basically happens every day if you pay any attention to games developers and publishers and the like. Sad fact, you just have to stop placing any faith or trust or belief or hope in anything, and when something goes right, you just take it on as a kind of fluky occurrence that has no reflection on where it's come from. It's just lucky that it's good, unless it's a small studio. Small studios are ace, oftentimes, a lot, but they can always go the way of the bad. Valve are good, but they've still done some things that have made me sad or depressed, like the whole releasing Left 4 Dead 2 a year after Left 4 Dead 1 at the time was incredibly annoying to me. It's quite a good game, but it's a bit superfluous, and they could have been spending their time on something that would have had much more fun from, I think. The TF2 trading system I also really don't like. It's completely put me off TF2. I think I've played it once since that whole thing was implemented. The whole thing is just sullied to me. But overall, they do the right thing, and they reap the fucking benefits from doing the right thing, so I don't think they have a reason to stop doing it, so I sort of have faith in them. I really like them. I really like everything I hear about them, pretty much. But you know, I'm sure I'll talk about it quite a lot on the day that they also betray me. This is like such a base question, the kind of which I would look at and just scroll right by without even registering, but it's in this application, it's amazing, because I don't know. Well, I think I do, but I'm going to go through it with you. So, Joe Cornish has been an incredibly successful guy. He's gone on to help with Wright, I think, Tintin, and he's written this shitty film about the suburbs and aliens or something, I don't know. I watched the trailer and was just like, oh, it kind of wiped it from my brain. Joe Cornish, what are you doing? But, he's been successful. Meanwhile, Adam Buxton has been... Oh, he just fails when he tries to do anything for money. If you go and watch his YouTube videos, they're fucking great, and Ken Corder is such an awesome character that he's just made and put in a few things, and I really like Adam Buxton, so you can see where I'm going with this. I would fuck Adam Buxton, but it might feel a bit like pity. But again, he'd probably be alright with that, other than the fact he has a wife and kids, if you ignore those facts. I think he's accepted his place. You hear it in the podcast. He's very eager to please, and Joe's sort of sitting back and a bit keeping the puppy happy. But Adam Buxton is always in my heart. So I'm going to have to answer this on the premise that neither of my brothers will ever see it. Neither of my brothers have seen anything I've put onto the internet, although I think I've talked to them about the YouTube thing. I've just refused to give anything in the way of usernames. So, I have two brothers. One is 21 and one is 23. The youngest one, first of all, yeah, we all look the same, kind of. We all have this, and kind of similar eyes. There's a sort of general theme in my family that is in the facial region. we get along quite well. I get along with my youngest one much better than the second middle kid, because he's a little bit aggro, a little bit aggressive, a little bit diametrically opposed to a lot of things that I like or do. So, and very aggressively so. He's a bit of a hippie, takes pride in hippiness, sort of enjoys pseudoscience, and thinks I'm just being incredibly close-minded when I talk about the fact maybe chakras don't exist. And he's not easygoing about it, and neither am I. So it's like clash. Everything that's wrong with me that I've described over the course of these videos, like everything I've said, he also has, but slightly more, in my opinion. So it's a clash. My youngest brother is much more similar to me, a little bit. Well, you know, they're both similar to me, but he's more easygoing, easier to get on with, a little less hot-headed. Pretty cool kid, although he's been away in Asia for a year, so I don't actually know what he is anymore, but I guess I'll see him next month when he comes back, and I'll be able to figure it out. Hope that was informative. I'm really glad that you, a 14-year-old girl, definitely a 14-year-old girl, definitely, came to me with this question. There's a lot of people on the internet who would fob you off and say, no, it's perfectly natural and fine to do that. But I'm here to tell you right now that it's really, really not. It's deviant behaviour that will land you nowhere other than away from God, probably involving a fair amount of burning fire. I don't know if you've heard of hell, but it's certainly where you'll go. Look, it's another of these questions that's definitely genuine from somebody naive and a girl. Just going to break it to you right now. If you do that, there's no repentance and no let up. Enjoy your eternity in the underworld. My beliefs actually revolve around the stupidity of humankind at large, and you're validating my beliefs, so thanks very much for that. It was a joke. A joke! I didn't even think I'd done it that well. I thought I'd gone a little bit overboard, referencing the underworld. I don't think Christians actually do that, do they? I thought that was purely a Greek thing. Well, anyway, apparently I did it excellently, and I have an abundance of these questions, and people even stopped following me because of it, which I see as a true measure of my success. Yes, I love taxidermy. My favourite taxidermy museums are the Horniman Museum in Forest Gate, and the best piece they have is a walrus. This walrus was caught, killed and taken back from Canada, I think, and at the time little was known about walrus, so the taxidermist stuffed it and kept on stuffing it and kept on stuffing it until there were no folds or creases. It's just a gigantic expanded walrus, just sitting in pride of place in the Horniman Museum, surrounded by a lot of other cool things. So that's a really great place. The Booth Museum in Brighton is perhaps the only good thing about Brighton. And this guy called William Booth shot a lot of things all throughout his life and had them taxidermied. And the Booth Museum is filled with his samples, mostly birds. And it was great. I really liked it there. I'd like to go back, but I don't really want to go back to Brighton. Another really great museum in London is the Hunterian Museum, which has a lot of things like elephant uteri and baby fetuses, just stacked up in glass cases throughout, and it's fucking awesome. Those are my favourite museums. The fact you're calling it Jack of Corner means either you were there, or it's been mentioned by me in some other scenario. I don't think I called it that in my VU response, so that's interesting. it happened, and I accepted it. I accepted it as what it was, and it was Jack of Corner. I could have tried to fight it, but instead I welcomed it, and it was fucking hilarious. I like to think not. I've survived this long without it. I believe your hypothesis of its future is quite correct. Don't like it, don't want to partake in it. There are some things I know I've missed out on, one of which I found out today, which is that by now I would have, if I'd had Facebook, be informed and thus have completed a set of instructions. You open a calculator, the bog standard basic Casio Allowed Exams calculator, draw with a pencil a graphite line on the circuit board, and ta-da, you have a seemingly impotent calculator that can actually differentiate, integrate, perform matrix operations, and all manner of things, solve quadratic equations, unbeknownst to anybody. But I can now look up online, and so I found that out by interfacing with a human, which is admittedly not one of my strong points, but I did it. Yeah? And now I know. Now I know, alright? So hopefully I don't need any Facebooks in my life and can continue to be unmolested by it. I feel like getting it now would just be admitting defeat, and that's not something I do very often. I agree with you. These hands are fuck weird. Some people seem unfazed by them. I try and get across. I try with various amount of tools at my disposal, just contortioning them, making them weird, measuring them against their own hand. But just some people fail to... I think maybe they're just being incredibly polite, and that's something I don't understand on any level. And as such, I'm just continuing to try and prove it to them that I've got weird fucking hands, and they're just politely, no, Rose, they're fine. They're not fine, they're weird as fuck. Although Ripley's Believe It or Not sort of offends me on every level. All I know about it, I think I've seen it on TV, but what stands out to me most is their museum in Piccadilly Circus, and I walk in there and it's just an assault of obnoxious bulbosity, and it just disgusts me on every level. So I won't be donating my hands to those people. The Horniman Museum will no doubt have a space probably already set up from the first time they saw me walk in, so it can be dealt with in that way. The moon is up, the water's still, so arm in arm we go up the hill. I will forgive the past and forget it too. I will let my love return to you. I know you're trying, I know you can make a lover out of a bitter man. I will forgive the past and forget it too. I'm not so foolish as to lose you. Ruffle. I won a Whitney Houston vinyl for my great dancing at a school disco when I was 9. I also won £60 Amazon voucher. I think those are the only 2 things I've ever won. I read a lot of American Opinion and just came across a lot of American Opinion on this matter. Just from being on the internet, obviously. And it's quite, just really, I don't know, if it was an English villain, you wouldn't see the same sort of reaction. I think it's quite hilarious that everyone's seeing it as a great success and reflection of the greatness of the USA when it's taken them 10 fucking years to find him, and killing him will do literally nothing, I think, to stop terrorism. In fact, it'll probably just stir the ashes and put a few more logs with coal on the top, and then maybe just pour some petrol for good measure. I don't know. Regardless, I think the sort of celebrations are something I completely can't relate to, probably because I'm not fucking American. Probably shouldn't have said fucking in there, because that made it seem like I was saying bad things about Americans, which I'm clearly not. I'm president of the Jacking Off Society, and come on, it's always funny. That's me laughing at it, because it's always funny. I see where you're coming from with this, but I think most people were just happy that they had a day off, and maybe some people did care about a wedding, but that might just highlight the difference between the countries that I was sort of angling for. We get jolly and clap when somebody marries and you run down the street shouting fuck yeah when some dude with a turban gets shot. If you think the fact that me and Darbo are in love and getting married makes me gay, then I don't even know what to say. You're fucked up. You messed up. You're fucked up. Messed and fucked. Equal measure. One exam was meh. Kramer's rule is a dick. The other exam was, oh fuck, shit, no, oh, no, so draw from that what you will. But what I'd more like to talk about, I'd like to talk about something. There's a kid who's cheating in every single exam, and he sits near me, and I watch him cheat with a blown mind, just like, what? You have brought in a piece of A4 paper which is crammed full of notes that you keep in your pocket and you bring out and you put in between your question papers as you're writing and someone's walking by, or you just hold the question papers like a bit of paper that is not nearby for me to show you up slightly so it's tilted so they wouldn't be able to see it, and you're just looking at it, looking at the questions. Oh, what relates? You're doing that. Not you, personally, but the guy who is cheating in every exam. And, it's quite funny. It brings an element of drama that's quite welcome, a good distraction. If I'm feeling a little bit like, fuck this, piece of white blinding with scrawled spider on, I can just look over and there he is, being amusing in some way, looking slightly worried, but getting away with it 100% every time. I haven't played Dirt 2 in ages, but I have played Dirt 2 a bit, and although I'm still not amazing at it, I'm quite good at kind of games where you don't have to be continually good. So there's a game in the party mode, which is, I'm not even like, well basically, I'm just thinking of giving up talking right now. Anyway, I won't. Domination. You go around and you have to do sections of track. This is like so irrelevant. Why am I mentioning it? I like that one anyway. So try that one out. It's fun. Not fishtailing. Basically, you can't go super fast around corners. It's a bit of a drag. But you just can't, or you spin out and it's fucked. So you have to judge carefully how fast you can be going, and then let the tail fish a little bit. But for the most part, keep it on track, and also fuck with your settings, differential and bias or whatever this shit is all called, and see what's good for you. IKR, I know, right? Unforgivable. GPOY, gayest picture of you. I think. I hate that. I see it and it just angers me. Just post the picture, alright? Don't pretend it's validated in some way with that follow-up. And IMHO, in my humble opinion. Anything you say on the internet is already your opinion most of the time, and it's obvious. Adding the tepid word humble, just, oh, fuck, disgusting. No, of course not. I mean, most of the time, a lot of the time, when I'm being sociable and nice, it feels wrong and somewhat affected. Doesn't mean to say I don't mean it. I want to be nice to this person, but I still feel a bit weird doing it. Like I'm lying. Well, that's not all the time, but it's definitely some of the time. I can be sociable and nice, though. No, but, you know, no, I got out of bed at roughly 4 PM that day, read the news headlines, and regretted my day. Or lack thereof, and definitely the lack of parakeets, motherfucker. I actually have a bust, no pedestal, but a bust. It's Frédéric Chopin. Feeling a little bit dead. Not so hot. I got woken up too early by a bongoist. Fucking love bongos. Listening to somebody play bongos is like listening to me play Bishi Bashi. Listen to me play Bishi Bashi. Ready? It's probably going to be really loud and obnoxious. See? See how it goes to one frequency? Because that's all I'm capable of. This guy is no better. And it's right, like, good bongo players, they're still incredibly annoying. I hate bongos in all its forms. And this was no exception. I was just lying in bed shouting in anger. But it wasn't doing anything, as you might realise if you thought about me just lying in bed shouting a bit in my bedroom for just a moment. So not a great start. I fucking hate bongos so much! Anyway, if you play bongos, just don't. Nobody likes or enjoys it. And even if you're doing it in the privacy of your own home, I can hear it in mine, so fucking don't do it. Thanks. If you play bongos, then you're such a fucking asshole, you won't even understand, you just... Then I went to a talk this evening, because I'm cultured and shit, about, science journalism, and the guy telling us how to become science journalists, but not just giving us very vague advice. Some of it was okay. And at the end of it, I actually wanted to ask him a question. I never ask questions to those things because it makes me feel incredibly weird. But I did it. I was like, yep, got my hand up, gonna ask a question, gonna do this, come on. And eventually he noticed me and said, yeah, and I'd forgotten my question, and I was like, I did remember and regain composure, but it's not okay. Really? I haven't been out very much this week. There's been a lot of sleep going on, so I'd be intrigued to hear when it was and what was going on, and depending on the situation, thanks for not saying anything. Should I just use some of my spare hair? You make it into... I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Did not expect my demographic to require such tutorial. So you get 3 strands, and then you just go under, bring it over, under, and just keep going underneath and hold it tight so it doesn't unravel, and then you get... Let's see how much I can get done in this time. I think I'm gonna place on spare and you're gonna see a whole fucking thing going down. Isn't that incredibly exciting? Each and every one of us, the answer is yes. Indisputably. So I hope this was incredibly entertaining, because I'm having a whale of a time here, and one strand is now way too short to do anything with, so that's the end of that. No, my natural hair colour is described thusly. I have to fry it to get it like this, and that'll need to be done again soon with the frying and also just the hair washing. Look at that, pretty it's nice when it gets nicely separated by your own head grease. That's a delight. I haven't been to anybody else to do my hair since I was 16, that's 9 years. So that's why it's like this. I mean, it's somewhat contained and you can't really tell, but I used to just cut my hair short and hack it, and that was fine, and it looked like I had done that, but I didn't mind it because that was a thing that was happening with my hair on purpose. But now it's just grown out, so the differing lengths that are remnants of said hacking remain, but it's now in different ways and different directions and unplanned. And I'm not doing a damn thing about it other than, you know, whacking on the old conditionerino and pretending everything's fine. Sometimes I'll turn around or just out of the corner of my eye see myself do or think or say something that's really not okay. And that's a what? Moment. But also I don't always feel bad about that. And that in itself makes me aware of the fact that I'm kind of a wrong'un in some ways. Bad wiring. So the answer is yes, but also no, depending on the situation. I suppose the minute I gain a girl demographic is the minute I'm flooded with questions about my shit hair. So that's a good thing. Wow, Rose. Wow. Love you, ladies, girlfriend, sisters. At the moment, I'd say the high point of my current game life is the only thing I'm allowing myself to play really is gun game in Counter-Strike Source, because it's not gonna suck me in completely, because there's rounds and things, and you sort of after a while you start playing shit. I start playing shit, and I get out of there. But so winning gun game feels fucking amazing. You feel like you fucking earned that and are better than everyone else, and there's usually a lot of other people. So when you're in a server with 20 people plus, and you beat them all to the top of the scoreboard, you have to kill. You start off with the shittiest pistol and you work your way up through the gun. I'm sure you know this, but for any random passerby, work your way up the gun tree, and finally you're with a knife, and you have to knife someone to death, and you're like, just running around slightly manically trying to get up to someone in the heat of some battle so they might not notice you, or just from behind or anything, just knife someone. And especially when you're at the top with a number of other people and you're the first person to knife the next person, it's a good feeling. And it seems like that's what I'm best at in Counter-Strike, what I will win at more than anything else, because you don't need patience for it, basically. Yeah. I think the problem with me is that I'm kind of close to being a psychopath some of the time, especially when I'm not given me time. And when you get married and you have kids, you have a shitload of responsibility. I know kids isn't in this question, but it's assumed to me when it comes to marriage. That's the sort of path that some people take, and I really don't think I should, because I think I might kill all of my children, if I had any. If not physically, by shaking them to death, then at least eventually by slow, attrition to their mental sector. I don't think it's a good move. I think I'd turn into the worst person in the world, so I'm gonna probably avoid that sort of thing. This is about the writer guy who I asked the question. I asked, he went to university, and then he went to America to Caltech to get his master's, and was taught by Richard fucking Feynman, and then dropped out. Sorry, not a master's, a PhD. And he dropped out in order to go and start writing shit. And I asked him if he'd ever regretted dropping out from his PhD, and he said, never. And that didn't help me very much, because at the moment I'm trying to decide whether or not to stick it out for the 4th year, the masters, on my course or not. And I can't fucking decide, and I have to decide in about 2 weeks. So any input, just random stranger input, would maybe be of use. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to be a workaholic. Look at me. I'm exam tomorrow, shit to do, notes in front of me, really not properly in there at all. Haven't spent very much time at all on this today for some fucking reason. Doing this. So, I don't know if I could be a workaholic. It'd be cool if I could do something I enjoyed for a living, but I'd like to do that on kind of a part-time basis. I don't think you can really be a workaholic part-time. The thing is, I really like spending time on my own doing things. A lot. And I think maybe that lends itself more toward the spinster side of the scale. But maybe there's also somewhere in between. Pretty sure there's somewhere in between, like if I was just me now, but into the future somehow, forever, then I think that'd be right. It's responses like this that make me just want to say, I feel sorry for you. If you can't enjoy your time alone, I don't mean it in an aggressive way, that just like, if you can't enjoy your time alone, then I genuinely feel sorry for you. Because that would be shit if you had to always rely on other people for your entertainment.